Whoa, here we are. Hi, BodCon. I'm Darcy Michael. Welcome to the male body confidence session of today's events. A little bit about me. I'm an actor and comedian and accidental TikTok influencer. Don't get me started. And I'm going to introduce our panel today on male body confidence. Our first panelist is an award-winning artist, author, filmmaker, trans rights campaigner, and director of My Generation. Please welcome Fox Fisher. As well, we also have a plus size model, activist, influencer, YouTube personality who has been featured in British Vogue and Vogue Italia. We have James Corbin. And finally, our last panelist today is a model, graphic designer, illustrator known for his bright and thought provoking graphics centered around amplifying Black voices. Please welcome Thadeaus Coates. Hi, everyone. Look at these beautiful, beautiful people in front of me. How are we?
Yeah, really good.
Great.
Good.
Before we get started, I just want to double check everyone's pronouns. So, Fox Fisher, you are
Yes, so my pronouns are he or they, so either works.
excellent. Thank you. And James,
My pronouns is he, him.
excellent. And Thaddeus. Oh, Thaddeus, I think we might have a problem with your sound, or maybe I'm just not hearing you.
My pronouns are he, him. I had it on mute.
Hey,
Yeah.
how long are we into Zoom? That's not a good enough excuse anymore. We've been doing this for 2 years. Come on now.
No, I muted myself because I was nervous. I didn't want to be heard when people talking.
No, this is great. I'm so excited for this conversation because I think we can all agree this is not a conversation that we're having enough within our community, within just with men in general. So I'm going to start with one of our first kind of questions for the day. As men, how important are compliments and words of affirmation given to you? I'm going to throw to you, Fox, first for this one.
So I don't necessarily identify as a man, so I'm a masculine, I'm trans masculine. So it's interesting because I've kind of experienced both sides of things. And before I transitioned in my late 20s, I did receive a lot more compliments. And with my transition, as I became more and more masculine, I did notice there was kind of a lack of compliments. And I actually heard somewhere that men can go for a really long time without any compliment at all. So it's quite interesting. It's not like I need the gratification because actually I feel much more confident in myself, but it is very, very interesting that people just don't really dish that out. And I think that it might be because I feel like when I was in more female spaces and when I was kind of interacting with women and they were seeing me in that way, it was a really great way to connect with people by saying, "Oh, I love your shoes," or "I love your hat," or something like that. "I love your hair," but that doesn't seem to be something that men seem to do with each other. So yeah, it's really interesting.
It really is actually just to pipe in for a quick second. It's like there's almost a like part of men that it's almost a vulnerability to be complimented. Maybe not so much in the queer community, but definitely in the straight community, it would be something like, "Are you being sarcastic? Like, why are you telling me I look nice?" Right? James, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, we're used to giving all the ladies the love, isn't it? Like it's usually compliments are going back and forth, and you don't really expect much as a male. Um, so the more that I have gotten older, like I like words of affirmation, especially in a relationship setting as well. And I think it's nice to give out that love as well. Let people know that you look good today. You know what I mean? Yeah.
That's great. And Thaddeus?
I am huge on compliments in terms of just complimenting others or complimenting myself. And even to a fault, I don't know, I live in New York, so I find myself complimenting people in passing, often like male or female, or however they choose to present. I'm always doing that. Like I'm complimenting a coat, I'm complimenting a hat. For me personally, I feel like I get compliments, but also I feel like I talk to myself a lot. So I'm affirming myself constantly. So I don't know if I'm getting it, but I know I'm giving it to myself.
Give it. Listen, if you're not starting your day by complimenting something about yourself in the morning, you're starting your day wrong. You
I
know, I don't
honestly
know if maybe this reference is too old for some of you, but Stuart Smalley from Saturday Night Live looking in the mirror like, I'm good enough, I'm smart enough, I'm strong enough, and doggone it, people like me.
That's great. I love that.
It's interesting what you said, James, about relationships. You know, I've been married to my partner, my husband, for 19 years, and even just yesterday, he was coming down the stairs, and I was like, "Oh, you look like a little cutie patootie." The way his face lit up instantly communicated to me that I'm not doing that enough. You know, like it was one of those things where it's like, hey, we've been together 19 years. He knows I think he's beautiful, but I got to tell him, I got to remind him. And he can sure as hell remind me. You know, I think it is important to, like, when we are, you know, complimenting each other, that it's not necessarily always body related as well. You know, like one of the things is someone that I've struggled with. I'm going to rephrase that. I used to struggle with weight and diet culture for a long time, and my weight fluctuated. At one point, I was 150 pounds lighter than I am today, and incredibly unhealthy and unhappy. And I got addicted to being told how skinny I looked because I had been so big for so long that it became. And then when those compliments kind of stopped because everyone had seen me and kind of acknowledged it, the drug, the chase of it was kind of gone, and it actually made me feel worse about myself than when I was bigger and people just didn't really say anything about my physical appearance. So it's an interesting kind of thing, but I think, if we all kind of promise to start with complimenting ourselves, it makes it a lot easier to compliment others. How do you guys feel, and sorry, how do you all feel that the media can improve the perception and acceptance of all body types? And I'm going to throw to you, Thaddeus, first.
That's a really good question. I feel like there could definitely be more progression on all fronts. I know personally, as like a plus male model, or technically big and tall, because there's a difference in that as well. I feel like there is a lot of progression on the women's side in terms of like runway and all these things that I'm seeing physically. But I also know how important it is to have a more diverse, like forefront, because
Mm.
and I didn't know how important like even my presence was in the fashion industry until I did American Eagle, and that was the first time they had like all different kinds of body types for a campaign, and there were so many men who felt that they seen themselves in me, and I was just like, what? That's crazy. And
It's
it made me really
amazing.
happy. But yeah, I feel like we can definitely do better, and it's really, really important because people need to be seen, heard, and feel valued. Like that is, I feel like a right for everybody. They should feel that warmth, you know.
Absolutely. And feel free to chime in at any time for all four of us. You don't have to wait for me to throw to you at all. Like one of the things I experienced the other day was I went shopping at Lululemon because I had been told that they were including plus size clothing and stuff in their store and not just online, and I was very excited for the experience, and I was quickly realizing that like they have one double XL shirt that realistically is probably more of like a bona fide large. I was putting it on and I was like, well, if I want a halter top, this is a beautiful shirt. Do you think do you think companies like that, clothing companies, there's a bit of tokenism happening because they see the trend that we're setting and they're trying to jump on it, but they're not actually communicating? Did I cut out there?
Yeah, you
Mm-hmm.
did.
Sorry. Sorry, I was saying, do you think that, oh, of course, I'm at shoes. One.
Oh, we're on our own. What are we gonna do? um, I was. It reminds me of my dog's a model actually, and I took my dog to a.
There's a question too there from the audience.
Oh, okay.
What are some ways I can help my partner male identifying feel more confident in their body? Just like we were discussing before, words of affirmation is like a big deal. Like it, you're not expecting it as well. It's something you like to hear good things about yourself, and the more that you, um, I guess works both ways. You feel much better. It helps you with your body confidence for sure.
Hi, I'm back.
You're back.
Sorry about that. It's this cheap Vancouver Wi-Fi we have here. Continue answering that question. I was here and listening to it, and I think it's a great subject to talk about.
Yeah, I just think words of affirmation, not criticizing your partner.
I would say creating words of affirmation, yes, but also work to create the environment that that they would kind of feel more open to being comforted in things. I know that. Oh, there's another question. What do you do
Yeah,
to
we'll
help
jump.
yourself?
Yeah, this is actually a great one. How do you pump yourself up on bad body days?
I can go.
Yeah, go please. Jump in anytime.
All right, boom. So this is what I do on bad body days, which is crazy too, because I don't know my perception of my body until I see it captured on film. Like so, when I'm shooting, I can see it, but when I'm like not, I can see myself here, but I don't know what that's called. Maybe it's body dysmorphia, but I don't think it is. Maybe it is. I don't know. But I would just say I'm a dancer and I move my body a lot. And so when I need to pump myself up, I put on a nice song, especially in the morning. I make my tea, I brew it. It's like a little ritual for me. And I get myself ready for the day. I get myself excited. I put myself in a good state of mind. So that's what I do to like, even before I even meet a bad body day. I never meet them. I beat it to the
I
punch.
love that. I love that. Never meet a bad body day. How about you, Fox?
Yeah, I definitely experience dysphoria on a daily basis. It kind of moves around, so dysphoria is a tricky animal. But when I wake up, I tend to do a bit of mindful meditation, and that seems to really help me get really grounded for the day. So I like to take the time out to do at least 5 minutes, but preferably up to 15. Just yeah, feeling grounded, and I feel like if I've got that centered feel centered, then it doesn't really matter what happens. It's just how I deal with it that really counts. And yeah, it gives me a lot of confidence.
That's great. And James, for yourself?
You know what? Recently, when I want to feel like, back to my confident self, or I wake up, I'm just like self-doubting or not sure about the way I feel about my body. I put on a nice outfit and I walk the streets of London. Like, I don't know, there's something about it that's like, stepping out there and it's like reminding yourself of who you are. Then remember what you've done, what you bring to the table, and yeah, let's feel good again. Especially like the way I look at my body as well.
Absolutely. I one of the tricks I do is just like when I am in those moments of self-doubt, which don't come very often anymore, thankfully, but when they do, I'll stand in front of the mirror naked until I see something I like. One thing. Be like, all right, today it's the eyes, tomorrow it's the beard, today it's the chest, whatever it is. I got great legs, so I'm always trying to show them off, and I wish I could put on a nice outfit and stomp the streets of London, but unfortunately, it's a bit of a long flight, but I'll stomp the streets of my little farming town outside of Vancouver instead. That's great. Okay, I'm going to ask this one. What changes would you like to see with the way body image for male identifying persons is discussed? This is an interesting one for me. Fox, I feel like you, having experience with both, might have a really interesting take on this. What are your thoughts?
So the way that what's my take on how people perceive body image, or
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, it's a tricky one. I mean, do you mean like personally, or do you mean like how people perceive other people's bodies, or?
I think it's, yeah, kind of how people perceive, because we live in a time where, obviously we're all very social media active. There are we we're constantly making judgments on other people's posts and other people's images and stuff, and how can we be better for our internal dialogues, but also like how we're supporting other people on their journey through their body.
Sure. I mean, it can be so, scrolling through Instagram or something like that, you just see the best moments, don't you? The highlights of people's days and like, their best angles, and that can be quite toxic in some ways because it's difficult to imagine. I don't know. I feel like you just, yeah, because you see that best side of people, you can't imagine them having a bad hair day or something like that. But we all do, and it's good to remember that. And I find by being radically vulnerable, by sharing things with people and saying, I've got curves, or I've got, whatever it is, it helps other people to accept themselves as well and to feel more comfortable with who they are. So I think the more open we are, the better that will be, and the more we can share different types of bodies and see different, age ranges and things like that, because we're quite youth focused as well. It'd be just good to see different types of bodies and people being quite open about how they feel.
Absolutely. Listen, as the oldest person on this panel, I really appreciate you calling out the ageism. And also, nothing on my Instagram is perfect. So come on over if you want to feel better about yourself by looking at me. Thaddeus, what are your thoughts on it?
Can you repeat the question again?
Yeah, I think it kind of confused the question, even myself. So I'll read it out. What changes would you like to see with the way body image for male identifying persons is discussed? So, like we see a lot of people posting, like the perfect image of themselves and everything they've done to get to that point. Where would you like to see this conversation in the future?
I feel like it's so taboo for men to talk about how they feel about their bodies. And it's always a constant state of doing and never just stopping to appreciate where the body is in that moment. I don't know. I just feel
Absolutely.
it's just like a constant like rat race. And it's crazy because I talked to during the pandemic when we're still in the pandemic, but like last year, 2020, the pandemic, I had a conversation with someone who was older than me on this other call, and I was just like, there's some people who are worried about working out right now. And it was just like there were so many people who were just worried about not letting themselves go, but there were just all men, like from my perspective, and specifically queer men, or
Mm,
queer masculine presenting people. I was just like, wow, everybody literally is on pause, and the only thing that we can think about is how we look, you know. And so
absolutely.
that
Yeah.
was so polarizing for me. And then when I was thinking about it, I was talking to the person who was older. He was older than me, so we were talking about ageism. So that's why I tried to tie that in. But yeah, it was like yeah, I felt like I was trying to work out like every. It was so interesting. Yeah, I feel like we should be open to having those conversations and having it's just so cool to see men of different body types embrace where their body is at that moment and being okay with where it is, you know?
Hmm.
Yeah.
I think that's a big part, is being okay where it is, like getting to that point that today is enough. Like I constantly am trying to remind myself that this is just a skin suit for my soul. Like
Yeah.
that's all I can control is what, the internal stuff. James, how do you feel about it?
I'd just love to see a lot of bigger male bodies in the media on different aspects, like from dancers like Thaddeus, is models, singers, performers. Like right now, it feels like there's very much only one space for that representation because right now it's in to be inclusive, and all the push goes behind that one thing, and it's almost like a personality trait rather than this is just who the person is and they just happen to be a bigger body. So I just love that
Yeah.
to not be the overall taboo, not to be described like the number one thing. Oh, but he is plus size. Like there's so much more to people, so I want to get past that stage. I know we have to go through that to get to that stage, but yeah, I'm hoping that's what I see in the future and more opportunities to be there. I'd just love to see um, I'm really into like watching live performances, and like I would just love to see like that inclusion on stage. Like that to me will show me
Absolutely.
that things have changed, because that's what I guess what the mass media want to see, and if that's okay, I know we're at a good place.
I think, no matter who you are, your dream is to always see yourself reflected in media, whether it be at a live show on stage. I remember years and years ago, I was at a Bette Midler concert with my mom, and one of her backup dancers was plus size. And when she first came out, I was so on edge because I was like, is this taking place for a punchline? Is this going to be something where, Bet's going to make fun of? And it was never discussed. It was just, this is my backup dancer and my backup singer. It was wonderful. It was just one of those moments where I was like, oh, a heavy person, like I always joke that I came out of the womb with a dad bod, and I spent half my life trying to fight that and the other half trying to celebrate it. And so it's, like as an actor and comedian, I'm constantly trying to book roles that are just as a person, not as, fat customer number one or whatever that is. So I really appreciate that. This is, I think we've kind of touched on it, but I'm interested in hearing all three of your journeys, and I'll start with James. Where does your body confidence stem from? Like, was there a moment in your life where you just kind of made that switch?
I think it's when I started to step in front of the camera on social media, like not even as a model
Mhm.
yet, but just stepping in front of the camera. Taking pictures were very hard for me, Um, I'd be that person that will take everyone else's pictures. Just the idea of eyes being on me is just like people are looking at my body. I'm not happy with my body. So I started to make myself feel uncomfortable to then feel comfortable, and that's how I started to build my body confidence. Like so much as wearing shorts outside was a big issue for me, and I'd set like these small targets, because it's like you're just tired of like limiting yourself. There's so much talents that I want to explore, but because it's like I'm like, when I lose weight, I'll do this, and I was like, no, I want
Yes.
to do it now. So that's when I think I consciously started that journey to challenge myself, and then it was like I was faking it until it was my reality. It was like, you know what, I'm going to do this, and it doesn't help when you see in the media like even a male celebrity or female celebrity or anybody, their body is constantly being criticized, constantly, if they put on an
Absolutely.
ounce of weight.
Do you remember with the
Yes.
Super Bowl? I'm not sure if you all saw that with 50 Cent when he was
Mhm.
performing. Everything on
Yeah.
Twitter was about that he had put on weight, and I was like, this is a grown man who has led like a successful career. Who cares? He's hanging upside down, rapping for millions of people worldwide. Who cares what his body looks like? It blew my mind.
But also, how do you even like look good? How do you even look good upside down? I would think, I think everything.
You got to check my OnlyFans for that.
Like, no, did you see? Okay, so there was recently the cover of The Cut with the whole cast of Euphoria.
Oh, I didn't see
And I
that.
was like, you have to look. In my mind, I was like, you have to look so good to look good laying down like that. Like, laying down like that with your face right up to the camera, you have to look so good. Anyways, off topic. Um, okay, so two things. First thing, there was a quote by Paloma in ID Magazine for the Out of Body issue where she was like, although I'm growing increasingly tired of my body being the centerpiece of the conversation, I feel privileged to share it, for it is my home and the vessel that is allowed for even a select few to see what is so often denied. And this is like goosebumps. I'm just like, she's so right. But like in everything that she is, she's a plus size model as well. But in everything she's in, her body is the focal point. And so it comes to a point where when you step on set, it's like, am I here because I'm good, or am I here because I am what's going to check the box for the company? That's what I be thinking.
Absolutely.
But also, I know I'm
Yeah.
good. So, anyways, back to the time when the switch was made for me. I remember being really young, like 11 or 10, and my father wore tank tops around the house. And so he was like, why don't you wear tank tops? Why don't you wear tank tops? And I put the tank top on. I used to hate wearing tank tops, which is crazy because I'm in them now all the time. But I remember it like feeling so weird and foreign to me, and it made me feel really uncomfortable. And so as I got older, this is when I was 11 though, and I already was like, why am I wearing this? But I was like husky when I was like younger as well. And so as I got older, I started dancing. I started dancing when I was probably in like seventh or eighth grade, and that kind of gave me the confidence because I knew that I could do it. After I watched You Got Served, I went to go see You Got Served when it first came out, and I was like, I could be in this movie. I know I could. So I learned the dances from the movie, and so my mom was like, "You're actually really good." And I'm like, "Okay, cool. Let me start dancing." And so being a dancer is like playing a character for the specific piece that you're in, and so it's almost like you have to like Rihanna when Rihanna said, "I fake it, I pretend." You literally have to pretend until like you're in that moment because you're center stage, like, and everybody's looking at you because your presence already supersedes you because you're bigger or taller. And so yeah, you just have to step into it, very much like James said. Yeah.
Fake it till you make it. How about you, Fox?
Yeah, so for my body confidence, it took a while. I mean, it actually took hormones and surgery to really get there because I tried so desperately to just really inhabit my body, but I just wasn't present until I was able to start taking hormones and have some surgery. Now, my body confidence, I think it came from dancing as well, from dancing in my bedroom and just like taking my shirt off and just like dancing around. And every time I did it, I felt like I was just shedding layers of stuff and I would always cry actually. I don't really cry much at all anymore and I don't know if that's a testosterone thing or what. But or the fact that I'm happier, maybe it's that just that, you know,
Yeah.
that I, you know, yeah, much more present. But like just whenever I dance, it just felt so therapeutic to be able to go through these emotions, and it was almost like this great relief of being like,
Mhm.
ah, I've arrived, I'm here, and this is me, and that felt just it's just incredible, and it's just a me thing, you know. But yeah, I'm a
Absolutely.
better dancer.
My husband calls it when I'm putting on a concert. Like if I'm just dancing around the house singing at the top of my lungs, like you can't not feel good after doing
Yeah.
that. My mom would always crank music when I was a kid and be like, "Let's go to church," and then we'd just be singing and dancing, and it really does help. And like from my own experience, I made the mistake early on as a stand-up comedian of talking about my body in a negative way on stage because I was the, big fat hairy gay guy, and it was like, I gotta acknowledge it. And it took me like 7 years into my career, I realized I actually was feeling worse about my body by making fun of it all the time because, like what I thought was sharing a laugh with an audience was actually, like they're laughing at me because of my physical appearance. And I consciously stopped talking about my body on stage, and the change it made in my general happiness, my general confidence was night and day. When I decided to say, hey, this isn't funny, this is just beautiful, this is who I am, it literally like it was a life-changing moment for me. We're going to go to an audience question. How do I help my son navigate his confidence as a young adult? I think this is a great question for any parent because I have a 23-year-old daughter, and when we were raising her, we really made the conscious decision for Jer and I to not emphasize her physical appearance. We always wanted to compliment her, like her intelligence or her decision making, more so than her body because it isn't who she is and stuff. But every now and then, she'd come out of her bedroom and she'd look beautiful, and we'd always say, "You look beautiful today, not that it matters." Like that was kind of our thing with her, and I think it helped her confidence in just knowing it wasn't going to be anything about the color of her hair isn't going to define who she is. It's just going to amplify who she is. What would your advice be to a young adult kind of coming into their own today? I'll throw to you, James.
So the first thing I thought of was like sending your son to maybe to go like with some money to go to the store and like pick out an outfit, and
Yeah.
like help him figure out his style. I found when I started to get more into my style, find out what I like to wear, it's like you start to think more about how you look in your body, and you start to feel good. And I think that is something that really, really helps, you know. And of course, like you don't want to overly shower him with like words of confidence and so because it can feel like too much. But they're just letting him know that he's loved, letting him know he's beautiful, and I feel that that helps, in my opinion.
Great. Thaddeus?
I have a younger brother and a younger sister, and I will say that once I noticed how important it is to give compliments not on appearance but for quality instead, everything that I started to notice, like in my family setting, I was just like, no, maybe you should because my mom would give compliments based on like appearance, and I'm like, maybe you should compliment her on how like well she like is feeling today, or maybe you ask her how she feels, not about like how she looks. um and specifically this is like a thing in like the Black household. Well, not to like make everything like one thing, but mostly from my experience, yeah, I just wanted to make sure that she knew that she looked good because she felt good and not because of like anything else. And it was so important to me. And I remember the moment that I realized how important that was because I seen the light in her eyes a different way, and I was like, wow, yeah, this is what it should be. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I would definitely say when you do compliment your 21-year-old or your young adult, make sure you choose wisely with the words you use because those are so important to how like they feel about themselves.
It really is true. Young adults are sponges. They're gonna remember how words made them feel, you know. And Fox, I know that you probably have some great suggestions for this topic as well.
These are all great suggestions already. I think anything to help them develop as an individual. So whether they're interested in playing a musical instrument or if they really want to travel somewhere, helping them to, supporting them in doing that, that will really help to develop them, as working out who they are. And that's what it's going to come from within then. And that's really going to shine through.
That's great. And Fox, I'm going to throw this one to you too right away. Is there someone in either in your life or in the media that helped you get to the place where you are? Is there something that just you heard one day, you saw one day, someone said to you that really just kind of resonated, that hit you hard?
Wow. I mean, there's been lots of inspirational people over the years, and I get inspiration from all sorts of different places. During the past couple of years, it's been such an unusual situation for everybody, and um, I think it sounds really cheesy, but I found a lot of confidence through yoga. And there's a guy called Travis Elliott that I got into, who I think
I
is
know
great. And
Travis. Yeah.
yeah, he's always giving these funny quotes and stuff about, they're a little bit cheesy, but I really like them. So yeah, I really enjoy doing that yoga and just hearing those little snippets of advice and support, for it just helps me get through the day. So yeah, something like
Amazing. That's
yoga
great.
instructors.
How about for yourself, James?
This is really random, but I remember I was like walking on the street and I was younger. I was like in school uniform, and this lady approached me and like she held both of my hands and she was just like to me, I hope that you know you're beautiful. And like it was particularly she was referring to my skin tone. At the time I used to hate being a dark skinned
Mm,
black male. And she was like, you don't understand how powerful your skin is, what it means. And so, and I had to like it stayed with me for years, and
that's
I really, really like helped me build off for sure.
Oh my gosh, so good.
that's a beautiful gift. That's a beautiful gift. Thaddeus, how about for yourself?
When I first seen myself in media, was that the
Yeah,
question?
and like, how is there someone even like in person or through media that just kind of connected to you that helped you with your body confidence today and where you're at?
I would probably say when I was like younger, I would watch a lot of America's Best Dance Crew. And so specifically when I'm watching shows like that, I'm watching and looking for people who look like me and feel like me. There was this one group that came on there, I think it was like season 2, and they were called Heavy Impact. And
Okay.
all of the men and all the men in the group were like all plus, and it was like 5 of them, and they did so good. But that was the first time I seen myself in like media, and I was just like, wow, I could do this. I could be this way, and so it really helped me like find the confidence that I needed when I needed it.
That's great. My answer is going to be sound a little cliche almost, but it's the last 2 years of really embracing TikTok and finding the community of like diet culture dropout and body confidence uh, has really helped me because I've been able to see other creators and stuff for like. I didn't post. I had a TikTok account for my dog for the longest time, and I didn't want to post because I'd put on a few pounds during the early part of the pandemic, and I didn't want fans that knew me from comedy to like start chirping at me and stuff. And then I saw a thing from Alicia McCarville, who's also taking part in the BodCon, had posted something that just said, "Stop waiting to take the picture. Stop waiting to post the video. Be who you are and just put it out there. Take the photo, like whether it's even for public or whether it's like your family at Disneyland. I know so many men and women that are like, I'll just take the photo, like you said earlier, James. And so eventually that really sunk in, and I started posting content on TikTok. And a year later we have 2.5 million followers and 60 million views a month. Like, my life's completely changed from it because someone else told me it was okay. So I think if you're watching today, my only advice is take the photo. Post the video. Like, celebrate how happy you are allowed to be happy as a fat person. We are allowed to be happy no matter what our size is, no matter what someone else thinks. If you want to show a little skin, show a little skin. We have a couple minutes left, so I'm going to go to the audience. There's a couple questions that we have. So this is from the audience. Have you all heard of Sonia Ray Taylor's work, The Body is Not an Apology, or Radical Self-Love? I'd love to hear your thoughts specifically for male-identified folks. I don't know that work. Do any of you know it?
I've not read it
No.
yet.
I'm going to put it on my list of things to read, though. Is there a book that you have found supportive or inspiring during your body confidence journey? Interesting. I have ADHD, so I'm not a big reader. Anyone here have any kind of books that stick out for them?
I actually helped. I actually illustrated and worked on this book. It's called Everybody Shines. This is like a shameless plug, I guess. It wasn't even
You
expecting to
shameless
start
plug that. Plug that.
But it's edited by Cassandra Newbold, and it's like 16 stories about like fabulously fat people, and there's like everybody's represented. There's so many different like memoirs of like how to be your most authentic self. It's called Everybody Shines. I'm pretty sure it's like in Barnes and Nobles, and it's by like Cassandra Newbold. But yeah,
Excellent.
I did the artwork on it.
It's beautiful. It's
it
beautiful.
it really it's a beautiful like
Oh, I think we're heading out there a bit.
people
Thaddeus.
living their
Amazing. We have to wrap up here just before, but I want to circle back to how we started this conversation, and I want to thank all three of you for your openness, and I just want to let all three of you know that I think you're beautiful. And you all look very handsome today. I'm throwing you compliments, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Really quick, Thaddeus, where can people find you?
They can find me on TikTok, Instagram, Hippie Potter, HIPPYPOTTER.
Amazing. And James, where are you?
You can find me on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. Corbin Captures.
Excellent. And Fox?
Yeah, you'll find me on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at the Fox Fisher.
Excellent. And I'm the Darcy Michael on all social media. Thank you so much. We've got a short break before our next session, the BodCon Social Club. Don't go anywhere.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. It was such a lovely time to meet you all.
So lovely. Thank you.
I think we're still live, so maybe I got a spritz for a moment here.
Hi, I'm Ashley Freeborn. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Smash and Tess. and we are a women's apparel brand, although we have a little something for minis and men as well, that set out to disrupt the fashion industry with our super inclusive, super comfy loungewear, I guess you'd say, but we like to call it everywhere because you can wear it from the sheets to the streets. And our romper is our hero product, and so we like to say, the romper revolution. 6 years ago, me, my mom, and my bestie founded Smash and Test to disrupt the fashion industry by creating inclusive clothing that all women can feel comfortable and confident wearing. Today, with a growing community of over 300,000 people, we're leading the romper revolution and setting out each day to influence a new future for fashion. At Smash and Test, we celebrate showing up as you are every day, unfiltered and unafraid. We know that the realities of life aren't always pretty, but truly believe that confidence and authenticity are the most beautiful things you can wear. As a woman-founded and led company, our purpose is to empower all women to live big lives with ease and confidence, which is why we are so honored to sponsor the BodCon 2022. With a focus on confidence, body positivity, and self-love, the incredible speakers that I have the honor of sharing the virtual stage with are challenging stereotypes, dismantling industry norms through raw, authentic, and honest conversation. This community of energized and engaged leaders is what motivates us every day at Smash and Test to lead conversations in our own networks and continue to foster a community that embraces diversity and empowers confident women around the world. All right, everyone, I cannot wait to see and hang out with you at BodCon 2022. See you soon.